Good afternoon and welcome to AIADA's AutoTalk. I'm your host, Rachel Soleimani. Today, we dive into the first of our three-part webinar series surrounding COVID-19 and the global pandemic's effect on the automotive retail market. As a note, you will all be receiving a copy of this webinar by the end of next week. Joining us to share his firsthand experience from the West Coast pandemic epicenter of Kirkland, Washington, is AIADA's chairman and dealer, Jason Corder from Honda of Kirkland. But first, let's hear about how to navigate these challenging market conditions with some best practices from Kendall Billman, industry leader and senior vice president of AutoAlert. Kendall, take it away.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you everyone for attending. I want you to know that everyone at AutoAlert is here to help, and we're building special programs and best practices so that when we come out of this time, you're going to be ahead of the game and ready to succeed.
And so the very first primary focus is just how can we help? Your customers are the key elements right now, and more than ever, they need you. People are going on 6 to 8 weeks without any pay. Those deferments that are coming out have just been phenomenal that we're getting feedback from the dealers. The service drive, we are still seeing people in the service drive. And today, we've got a couple examples that we'll show you here later. But as those customers are coming in, just being able to have a conversation with them and seeing which ones need help. And then we're going to touch a little bit on your customer experience, right? Because right now it's very critical, but how we can data mine to find the right opportunities, how we can use your OEM offers and really propose things to consumers and really bring them back in. So one of the very first components we want to talk about is just that customer experience. Right now, it's more important than anything. And as we mentioned, everybody needs help. It's not just a one category or one type of work. It's the entire world going on. And that is from the brand themselves to the dealer, to the captive, and to the consumer specifically. But because you're the liaison and you have a lot of this good information and you're using a data mining tool, you're going to be able to really look at that and determine which customers are the best. So if you kind of really take the first one and kind of think through that process, when you take your brand and you're getting all these offers from, your captive, in this case, Honda and Honda Finance, or if you have other specials from your banks, you can be the one to help that customer by simply, for example, you can just send out an email to all of your customers asking which ones need help. The ones that send in a note to you and raise their hand, you can look at your system, which should automatically show this up, but if you need to do a couple extra steps, but what kind of programs can you put them into the finance and the captive? How can you bring them out of that vehicle? What's the best way, whether it's lowering payments or maybe a little higher, but you're extending their terms out? The goal is how can you help and just really push everything through on this. And then the second thing is when you're taking these offers and you have them out there. A lot of customers may not be thinking about it yet, but they're going to be. So using your systems of when you have a customer who can upgrade, what are you sending out to them? That correspondence back to the consumers. It's very good for your customer retention. It's also very efficient and effective when you're sending them an offer and being very precise around their payment range, which is one of the best things about a customer experience platform that you can run to. And as you're pushing all that stuff in, what can benefit you, and we'll touch a couple more times on this, but as a customer is showing interest with your sales team and your staff working from home, they have somebody they can contact. So it's not just saying, here's a work plan, call everybody. Let's first talk to the ones that are really showing it, and then let's move through that scenario as we kind of go through it. And as we're moving through that, right, you're going to start to see that, that overall customer, the ones that are home and doing stuff, but you also are going to have a few people that, and it'll spike. We've seen a lot of those things going up that our customers want to get their vehicle serviced. It's a need that they have. Maybe they just have time. But when those customers come into service, what are you doing to talk to them and have that conversation? One of the good things about our program is that when a customer comes in, it's going to immediately notify you, letting you know that here's customers that are either in upgrade position, who meet one of the new OEM requirements, that if they have a recall, there's a lot of things that we can do out of service and really start to mine our own service department, especially if you're looking for financial reserves, things that we can help. Recalls is a very good program, for example, that we run through. But then if you have your teams, like, we were going through this yesterday and we made some adjustments because a lot of dealerships, right, the service departments are being deemed essential. If you are still open, there's still ways that you can help your customer without physically, being right there next to them. So when the customer comes in, it still runs through your entire system. It goes to your DMS, pulls this stuff in real time. But your sales team using different messaging platforms that we have kind of built in the system would actually notify you that Dan just came into service. They're in a tradable format. It'll send a text to your phone, press the button. It'll actually show you the customer record and show you all that information. And from here, you can have a conversation with them, whether it's texting, talk to them on the phone, whatever process, but just going, can I help and how can I help? And all of these scenarios are going back and forth. We'll have some best practices here I'll go through that we're doing real time with our training. We're doing a lot of training for dealers outside, while their teams are working from home. It's kind of a new territory for them. So it's really been very helpful to say, here's how we can be very effective, who's the right solution, that we can go through for that consumer. And when you look at your data, this was pulled in the last 10 days. We know stuff's changing, in some instances by the hour, if not by the day, but the consumers are still out there. And I want to just kind of pull up, and again, we'll be sending this deck out, but we pulled it by every single state. And these are the consumers that are in your dealership in the last 10 days, just knowing that really at the lowest level, it's 12% of those customers that drove in could trade keys. And you're really higher up in the 20 to 30% range. So for every customer in there, every 10, right, we've got, 1, 2, or 3 of those can actually trade keys right now without any of the special incentive programs. And then when we've applied those on top of it, that now starts to put that number up to about half of the customers could do something with this. The key of that comes into data mining, right? And data mining connected to your service lane management is a key benefit. But as you're coming through and you're looking at data mining, right, what we're first looking at is just the initiatives that are coming out from your OEMs. And I just put a few of them up here. As these incentives are coming out, for example, at AutoTalk, we get them in real time. We're putting them into your system. We're recalculating every one of your customers' records to go, how would this fit? How would this help? And how would they benefit? But the consumers, in most cases, do not know that these are out. They may hear about it. They may kind of see it. But how does that apply to my payment? How does that apply to helping me upgrade or helping me during the situation? And that's where your team really has a perfect time to be able to reach and talk to them, have a great conversation, even if it's just setting up an appointment for when you can go back to the dealership. If that's 2 weeks out, just again, keep in mind that these consumers are going to need that additional incentive and that additional help. And so you can just be preparing and actually have appointments where the customers come in because you've got their car ready, we've got everything going. There's so many different scenarios you can run through that. And as you start to go through it, right, we're looking at best practices, right? So how can you manage your dealership from home? You have your team management. And a lot of these scenarios we do ourselves internally as a company. We have other dealers doing this. So these are brought from some of the best practices out there. You can be very seamless. You don't have to be inside the building. You're going to notice that, especially when you're getting to work plans for the salespeople. As you're sending out, say, for example, email to a consumer, letting them know that I'm here to help. Have you seen the new incentives? As those customers raise their hands, they would notify the salesperson's work plan in real time. So they're constantly reaching out to somebody immediately when they push through. So there's just a lot of that seamless integration that you can do that is also very effective because your salespeople are being engaged. They're engaged with the consumer. And as those consumers move through their process, you're the one helping out. When we look at service departments, we've got several best practices. It's just a highlight of a few that we're going to put in here. But as you're looking at your dealership and determining, all right, what do I have time to do? Recalls, we know, have been one of the big requests coming back from our dealers asking for training, going through to make sure. Some brands, we get your recalls in real time and they're connected to the exact VIN number. So in your vehicle and your dealership, we'd be able to show you which ones. We're also can show your teams how to set up template emails for service customers. This is a great time to look at all the customers who haven't been in service, reaching out to them and just saying, we have time. Here's what we can get for you. We've got different concierge programs. We can come pick it up. So knowing which ones to contact will save you a lot of time. So you're not just sitting there going through it. And then more importantly, your sales department, keeping them engaged where they're at, keeping them with a way to, have income coming in. And that's, if we're doing this right and we really walk through a lot of these components, is that as we come out of this, you should even be better than where you're at because you're going to have just droves of people who have these great offers that can actually push through it. And overall, here at AutoAlert, we know it's trying times. It's trying for everyone. We are here. We're here to help. We've been a partner. We love being a partner. My personal information's on here. You can reach out to anybody at AutoAlert. We have training staff that can do online training for your teams right now. we can go through, but just let us know what we're doing. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Rachel?
Kendall. Yeah, Kendall, thanks for the reassuring and helpful information. It's hard not to get wrapped up in this ever-changing news cycle, but a good reminder for everyone to slow down and assess what you can do to help your business thrive during this time. Now let's hear from our 2020 AIADA Chairman, Jason Corder, out of Kirkland, Washington.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Dan. And of course, thank you, Kendall, for that valuable information. You are a great partner to us all, the auto business, and a personal friend. My name is Jason Corder. I'm a third-generation auto dealer in our community, Kirkland, Washington. It's a community I grew up in. We represent the Honda brand. Some housekeeping and some legalese to start off here. This is meant to be informative only. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not someone with inside information. What you're about to hear comes from the others I have talked with around the country who are either our partners, fellow dealers, manufacturers, etc. My presentation is all over the board. So with that, let me begin. This started for us March 2nd. We started practicing more heightened hygiene practices, made sure we had a reliable supply source to get hand wipes, hand sanitizer, aerosols, etc. This is ongoing. My recommendation is to assign someone to manage this for checkout as well. Hand sanitizer is a hot commodity, and you need to manage this. You can also find a vendor to install hand sanitizer stations to service at your company as well. Ours was the uniform partner. Post very nice signs on all your entry points that list all the things you are doing to battle the spread of COVID-19. Also encourage that no one enters if they feel the symptoms we have all come to know of COVID-19. We have reduced hours for each department and adjusted our websites to make sure our public is aware. Our sales department is closed as I speak. Fixed is open. We have signage on street to show we are open because we are essential for fixed operations. Cross-train functionality is key and essential. Our state of business is off 50% in sales and near 50% for fixed operations. So we have moved around staff. We have even performed some layoffs. This is also before we knew about the new stimulus plan that was announced yesterday and approved by Senate today. We have worked hard to find the stories from fellow dealers as well as customers who purchased vehicles who were thankful that we were open to sell them a new or pre-owned car. These stories need to be passed along to local leaders as well as state leaders in your states and your towns. This needs to continue as your essential status could change either positively or negatively at a moment's notice. Other examples are customers need to sell their cars as they may need immediate cash right now. Or customers are ended term on leases with license renewals and don't have an option to extend the lease. Or customers may have totaled their vehicles and will need a new or pre-owned vehicle. I'm sure you have stories yourself. I've talked to numerous reporters about business status, the future of business. How does it look in my personal view? What is online going to mean? Do you have a "we will come to you" plan? Are you practicing social distancing at your location? Partner/vendor considerations. Most of the partners are offering some sort of relief, and we recommend you run your payable or vendor lists and start at the top and just move down the list. You can also check with your state association as well, as they may have updates to the partners they have and what they are offering to help get through this. Security. Security of cash, security of cars, security of your lot, security of your parts. Run a plan and make sure you are secure, especially with reduced hours and/or staff. Call your security company to see if they can add patrols to your lot. Advertising. Check your status. If you cannot do sales, see if you can adjust to parts and service, but make sure you follow your covenants, if any. We are waiting what the stimulus package has in it and what we do for staff. We may know right now, but it is good to set up a team to go over all of this so you can help answer questions your employees might have. Keep cash reserves. Ways to do this is in flooring, payables. Another one is, do you have reinsurance? Can you get a loan from that? Think of how you may want to receive a request to not even receive inventory. Your manufacturer seems to have plans in place to help. Whoever opens the mail should be wearing gloves. Also consider having the owner review all payables, invoices, etc. that come through the mail, from credit card bills to partner invoices, etc. Allow only necessary outside partners to the lot for access. Maybe that's a facility person or reconditioning partner, and they should be the only ones allowed to the lot or access if you're open. Remind everyone to practice social distancing. Examples would be to not share pens, offer gloves, wash hands frequently for 20 seconds, stand 6 feet away from one another. Try and deal less in paper. We also try and limit any cash transactions, and the cashier will wear gloves at all times. And they got to change the gloves, of course. We have notices explaining and requesting to use credit cards or debit cards. Recently, on our service drive, we have taped off locations that promote social distancing to ensure 6 feet of separation. Once a week, our 2 stores, we have a fogging machine that we've set up with our partner that is done weekly. We recommend you review something like a fogging machine or a possible machine that can do a deeper cleaning than just standard wipe down. Review your service or any type of waiting room. Move chairs or sitting areas around to promote social distance. Store chairs and parts, for instance. We changed our periodicals or newspapers to an online subscription where clients can access the online version. Be careful of your sign-on name, as you don't want your dealership or business name to be listed in the comment sections in the example of a newspaper. Not good. Remove food of any kind. No cookies, muffins, etc. Clean coffee bar. Consider turning off with a sign stating why. Promote cleanliness and your social distancing plan on signs throughout store at all entrances. Promote this plan on your website. We feel essential staff should also include IT and facility maintenance personnel. Hey, things go wrong every day, and you need that critical staff to get you back online or your drains taken care of. We stop demo drives in service and parts and sales with a good explanation. An example would be a customer with a squeak and rattle that otherwise you would normally have one of your technicians or your service manager test drive with a customer. We have stopped that for now. Consider a new service write-up process where the customer never touches what the advisor touches. Limit face time and try and write up while customer is in car, which promotes social distancing, so they do not have to wait in an advisor area. Bottom line, communicate, communicate, communicate. We have a daily call at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. every day, updating what we know at each store and any new things we want to implement with our executive team. This helps you so you have one voice and things don't get lost in translation. The leader or someone you assign should update staff daily or as frequent as possible. We started a nightly email on March 2nd and have updated staff of ongoing issues every night since, including Saturdays and Sundays. Messages have included inspirational messaging to hygiene tips to reminders on how to report back to work or not to work if ill. also the changes in policies. We follow all CDC, federal, and local laws. So we have plans in place to remind people if they are feeling ill or what to do if they want to return to work after being ill, etc. We continue to remind people to stay healthy by following the personal hygiene plans. We have logs in place to show that cleaning is happening daily, which also requires sign-offs, and we spot check them from the executive team and send emails out on how well we are doing. My new mantra is, if you touch it, you clean it. There is so much more as well. These are the high points that I felt I wanted to get out to you. From there, Rachel and Dan, I don't know if anyone has any questions that we want to take at this point.
Jason, anyone that has questions for you or Kendall can email them to me at Soleimani, S as in Sam, OLIMANIR @AIADA.org, and I'll pass them along to you guys. Again, Jason, I can't begin to express how grateful we are to have you on today. In the midst of this chaos, having you stop to come on and speak to your fellow dealers really means a lot. To everyone else on the line, to continue our COVID-19 webinar series, join us back here on Monday. Yes, this Monday, we work fast, Monday the 30th, to hear part 2 as experts from Moss Adams Automotive and Dealer Services Group talk to the federal stimulus package and explain how the program can benefit you and your employees. On April 9th, we conclude our series with Cox Automotive's Chief Economist, Jonathan Smoke, as he discusses COVID-19's impact on the U.S. auto sales. Be on the lookout for promotions on how to register. For more information about AIADA, please visit AIADA.org. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.